We're going to talk about one simple way to never lose any songwriting ideas, and at the same time always have a pool of song ideas that we can always dive into if we're going to start writing a song, so that we are never left staring at a blank page, not knowing what to write about. Hey friend, this is Joseph Vidala with Songwriter Theory. Today we are going to talk about maybe the simplest thing that we can do as songwriters to make sure we never lose our ideas. This is not a hard concept. This is not something that should be revolutionary, but it's still important to talk about. And that's just having an idea sheet. The main point of an idea sheet is to have a single place where you can find all of your ideas. Why is this important? Well, because we don't want to lose any of our ideas. And there's two main ways we lose ideas. One is when we come up with the idea, we don't write it down and then we forget them. The other way is that we do write it down, but then we can't find it later, or we don't remember where we wrote it down. So it's really important to have a single idea sheet in one place that you can access from pretty much anywhere, which is why I personally use Google Drive and simply use a Google Doc to keep my ideas in. So today we're actually going to go to the computer so that I can show you what my current idea sheet looks like. So let's dive in. Here at the top, you can see that I have a couple different examples of ideas I have, right? Like Empty Room, that's sort of alone by itself. But then I have this Beautiful Mist, All the Beauty Mist, Forgotten Beautiful. That's sort of just starting to workshop just a tiny bit. This was something that I was sort of inspired by from the movie Soul from Pixar, which if you haven't watched it, go watch it. Sort of a theme in that movie is the idea of the beauty in the really basic things that you sort of took for granted along the way. And then you see, sometimes I will flesh out something a little more, right? Like any other way. There's nothing about that phrase necessarily that I like. So then I put like, okay, this is sort of the idea I'm thinking about here. So about admitting the inevitability of how things worked out, and they worked out for the better for both people. This, you might ask yourself, Joseph, why the heck are you watching The Real Story of Paris Hilton? And I would say, listener, that's a great question. And the answer is that like YouTube recommended it to me for some reason, which is weird because, you know what? I don't know if YouTube recommended it. Moral of the story is it popped up for some reason. And I thought to myself, that's interesting. I wonder what this has to say. I wonder if there's any gold in here. And turns out I only like skimmed maybe 3 total minutes I watched. And I sort of concentrated on the parts that seemed like they would be more deep and insightful or something like that. And I was actually very pleasantly surprised that there's sort of this clip where Paris is talking about, I'll do this, and then I'll be happy. And I think she said, and then I'll be happy multiple times. And that struck me as like the tragedy, right? Of like, just this next thing, and then I'll be happy. Right? Because it's always the next thing that will make you happy. The problem is that you'll never actually grasp it. And it's obvious when somebody says it like that. Just one more thing and I'll be happy, right? So really, just this idea sheet is just literally ideas. There's nothing organized about it. I don't even think it needs organization. I roughly organize things sort of by time, right? So this is the most recent ideas and stuff. But for the most part, I'm just throwing ideas down, right? So this is when I finished BoJack Horseman, the second to last episode is called The View from Halfway Down. There's this really moving poem that's basically from the perspective of somebody who has jumped off a bridge. So they've committed suicide, but they're halfway down. And I just was really struck by like the tragedy of, you know, what one thinks when now it's too late to take it back. What would then go through your mind, right? Because that's not something you usually have the opportunity to hear. And then I'm a big fan of throwing pictures in here too. Pictures that can have some meaning to you or strike you as something that you would like to sort of use as the basis for a song or evokes an emotion or a thought. So really the whole point of this sheet is just get your idea down. Don't lose it. That's the goal. Don't lose it. This is seed gathering, right? You're not trying to plant the tree. You're not trying to water the seed so that it grows into a tree. You're not trying to do any of that. Here you are simply saying, if I walk past a seed, I want to pick it up and put it in my pouch, right? Maybe a weird analogy, but the idea here is when you get an idea, it doesn't slip through your brain, you don't write it down, and then it's lost. So this is what my idea sheet looks like. If you found this video helpful, something else you'll find even more helpful is my 6-step lyric writing checklist. This was actually only step 1 of those 6 steps, and those 6 steps will take you all the way from gathering ideas, like what we talked about today, all the way to a lyric that you can be super proud of. I like my lyrics to pass the frame test. Basically, It's lyrics that are so good that if it was just a poem that was put up on the wall in a frame, people would read it and be like, wow, what a great poem that is. So it doesn't even need the music to stand on its own, because sometimes music can actually cover up subpar lyrics, but we want lyrics that stand out and are amazing on their own and would be a great poem in their own right, even if they didn't have any music. So if you're interested in that, be sure to pick up this 6-step lyric writing checklist, totally free. Link will be in the description below, but it's at songwritertheory.com/lyric checklist. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, be sure to drop a like. That would be super appreciated. It helps with the YouTube algorithm so more people can find this content so they also can learn about songwriting. I come out with new videos on songwriting every single week, so if you want to be a part of that, be sure to also subscribe and click the little notification bell so you know when those new videos come out. Thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you next time.